It's our great pleasure to welcome to our 2024 Online Trend Summit, Amritha Sastry. She's Head of Culinary Strategy and Operations at Wonder, and we're going to be discussing Wonder, a new kind of food concept. We're going to get into the detail of the concept, how it's revolutionizing the food industry, the challenges that it addresses, how casual dining is changing, the role of well-known chefs in the proposition, and some of the really exciting future plans for Wonder. Thanks for joining us today, Amritha. It's a great pleasure and an honour to welcome you to our virtual stage.
Thank you, Charles, for having me. I'm very excited to be part of this conference.
Brilliant. Well, just before we get into our discussion, just a note to those that are taking part today. If you're participating in today's summit as a Trend Hub subscriber, you can discover more about the topics covered in this discussion, 25-26 food and drink trends framework, particularly in those trends that we've called Feed the Soul, No Rules, and Treat Me, which are part of Eat Happy and Simple Gourmet, Fancy-ish, and Home is Best within Smart Spends, as well as, of course, our 25-26 cuisines and ingredients trends framework. So, Amritha, let's jump in. And I wonder if you could start by just explaining a little bit about the concept of Wonder. I don't know if any of our audience have perhaps seen anything talked about in the press or the media, but it'd be great just if you could bring the concept to life for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Wonder is a new kind of food hall. And basically, what we've done is created next generation delivery in the fast casual space.
Okay.
So, actually, Charles, we're much more than just a physical location.
Right.
What we've done is create a platform where we've curated 30 unique restaurant concepts that we're able to deliver to our customers in under 30 minutes. And so, what we're really trying to do in the long term is build what we call the super app for mealtime. And we've started to do that through these physical locations and this platform that we call Wonder.
And the concept itself, it you can dine in as well as have the food delivered. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have currently around 21 physical locations across the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. And you can actually walk into a store, you can dine in, but majority of our business is for pickup and delivery.
Right. Okay. And I think in many of the things that I've read and in my conversations with you, you talk about Wonder as a new kind of food hall. And I just wonder if you can perhaps go into a little bit more detail about how Wonder is revolutionizing the food and drink offer. And perhaps some of the challenges that it addresses, both from a guest and diner perspective, but also, I guess, from an operation and operator perspective as well.
I think the best way to describe it is that we're fully vertically integrated. So
Okay.
we own everything from the restaurant concept development, so the research development of the restaurant, all the way to the last mile delivery of the customer. So that includes food production and everything in between. That makes us fundamentally different from most delivery platforms and aggregators because we own the end-to-end value chain, we're able to pass that value onto the consumer. And so what that means is we're able to offer more attractive prices, better delivery fees, and overall a better experience from a food quality perspective and also a delivery perspective. I think what makes us really interesting is that we're also able to democratize different kinds of cuisine types by partnering with some of the leading chefs and restaurateurs currently throughout the United States. So some examples include Chef Bobby Flay, but also Chef Jose Andres and Tejas Barbecue, which is based out of Texas. I think some of the challenges that we face is, obviously we're compressing essentially 30 unique restaurants into a 2,800 square foot location. So I know in the UK we use the metric system, but 2,800 square feet, that's about the size of a Chipotle. And so what we're doing is really densifying and maximizing the utilization of that space. And we're able to fit an incredible variety for our customers in that physical location. So I'd say that's probably one of our biggest challenges is managing that level of complexity, variety, and assortment in order to deliver a varied product for a customer.
And from a kitchen perspective, is that then I get from a a guest or a diner perspective, that manifests itself in different cuisines and different brands and propositions. From a kitchen perspective, is that just about I guess one kitchen that has a huge array of dishes and ingredients and so on to manage?
Yeah, absolutely. We had to be really thoughtful about how we design our back of house, and just how we create specific modules or almost pod-like structure to
Mm-hmm.
be able to fulfill over 500 plus unique menu items, which is what
Wow.
we're offering to our consumers. As you can imagine, that's thousands of SKUs and thousands of different kinds of permutations and combinations. So we really needed to be smart and thoughtful about how we structure that, which is very different from your typical fast casual chain, which is maybe offering somewhere around 20 menu
Yeah.
items.
Yeah.
We're at 500, so you can imagine how complex it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you give us any insight into how that is possible? Because as you say, the difference between 20 odd and 500 that's a huge multiple more. Is there anything that you can share with us that brings to life how you've addressed some of those challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest way that we've been able to tackle that challenge is we are very much powered by um, our own proprietary software and technology.
Right.
So really incorporating technology into the back of house through our kitchen stack, our production tech stack, and even our research and development tech stack, that has really given us end-to-end visibility of our SKU portfolio, which makes us really able to organize things in a very logical way and be
Right.
very structured in how we not only manage inventory in our back of house, but also how we cook. So there's prescribed cooking methods that we have our team members follow, and so that's really been able to ensure that when you look in our of house, it's quite harmonious, right? You're not really seeing chaos and confusion.
Right.
It's a very harmonious cooking process that's really guided by technology. Um, I think a lot of this, Charles, we can attribute back to the start of our company. So when we were first founded, we were actually a food truck business. So a mobile restaurant business that was
Mhm.
delivering freshly prepared meals to consumers in the suburbs. And so what we had done during that time period is really innovate tremendously to be able to have someone who was driving a truck be able to go into the back of the Mercedes Sprinter van and cook an entire meal from scratch. And
Yeah.
so what that what that required us to do is build technology to power that, but also be really efficient with how we use space. And so from that experience, and we adjusted our business model about a year or two ago. But since we adjusted that business model, we've been able to take a ton of those learnings and apply that to the brick and mortar location. The food trucks were actually quite successful, but when you're digging for silver and you end up striking gold, and you realize, wow, this is an incredible opportunity. We
Yeah.
can actually enable multi-restaurant ordering through a physical location. That's when we thought it made sense to kind of go in this direction for brick and mortar. But the point I'm trying to make here is that by having such a constrained environment, we were able to take some of those incredible learnings and apply that to the brick and mortar, which has given us a leg up in the fast casual dining space.
Do you have a requirement for perhaps different um, skills compared to a conventional food service or hospitality kitchen in terms of the people, the team, the skills that are required to work in that environment and run that type of operation?
That's actually a great question. The answer to that is no. We actually excel because we're able to hire, folks who maybe aren't as experienced or skilled in that
Yeah.
area. And because our technology is, enabling and empowering our team members, we actually are able to kind of work with folks who maybe don't have that experience. And so
Well,
that's what really makes it powerful, is that really anyone can do it.
yeah.
And so that's the power of our.
Yeah. And does if we were to walk into a Wonder Kitchen, like physically, does it look similar or actually quite different to a regular hospitality kitchen environment?
It actually looks quite different.
Hmm.
And part of that is because, we've also taken on some principles of what you might see in a micro fulfillment center and an e-commerce center. So really everything is digitized in a way,
Yeah.
right? And it's very, as I mentioned, prescriptive.
Hmm.
So, the team member knows to take item A, place it in cooking appliance B, right? And this is the time to take it out, pack it, prepare it,
Hmm.
and send it for delivery. So it's very structured. Like I said, it's very harmonious and like a symphony. So very much reminiscent of a micro fulfillment center.
Yeah, wow. I wonder if you can just share with us. I guess there's an insight here that perhaps based on how you're seeing fast casual dining evolve. And I just wonder if you could share any of your kind of hypotheses or observations and perhaps why you're seeing that happening.
Yeah, so I think in the fast casual space, what we're seeing is that, it's actually a growing category. And the
Yeah.
reason for that, despite what we see in inflationary pressures, particularly here in the US, not only on the pricing side, but of course on the food cost and labor side, is that consumers ultimately value speed, value, convenience, and quality.
Hmm.
And so we're continuously seeing growth of new fast casual restaurants. We see multiple players in some of the same categories. So you take the salad space, for example, you'll see, 5 to 6 players that are doing quite well.
Hmm.
Um, I think what Wonder is doing and how we're actually able to win in the fast casual area is that we've really created a new category, really focused on the parameter of quality.
Hmm.
And that's a category called fast fine. So you
Yeah.
don't see that currently in the market today. Fast casual is typically your scoop and go type concepts.
Yeah.
But what we're offering is we offer those fast casual brands, and we do have variety in those segments, but we also are offering incredible higher end items to kind of tap into what consumers really want, which is quality, and they want value for what they're buying.
Yes.
So you'll see on our menus items like a steak or a pad thai. That's not something that you typically see on your average fast casual menu. So just a little bit about how we're sort of playing in the fast casual space and what we're really doing to sort of change the game.
I suppose how would you, so you've mentioned quality there, are there other attributes if you were to define what fast fine is? Um, Obviously, quality is part of that. How would you sort of build that picture up, that sort of vision in the mind for what fast fine is all about?
Yeah, it's really taking some of the best of breed dishes that we're seeing at a restaurant, like I said, with some of our incredible chef partners, and bringing that to the consumer at a price that is affordable, but that's still exceptional quality. And so, an example, like I mentioned, would be a fully plated steak dinner. That's something that you can actually get on Wonder. And what I talked about before and why Wonder is special and how fast fine is exciting is because maybe for dinner tonight, Charles, you want to have a steak, but your partner wants to have some dumplings,
Yeah.
and then someone else that you're dining with wants to have some pizza.
Yeah.
So what we're able to do is create this cross basket experience where we can cater to different people's palates, price points, and also the type of meal that they want to eat and the scale of what they're wanting to consume for that particular meal occasion.
And you talked then about, and forgive me for quoting it back to a fully plated steak dinner. What's the sort of the last few meters experience with Wonder, and does that differ from other propositions? So when it arrives at your home, what does that kind of look like, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean that experience is going to be a delivery
Mhm.
experience. I think the difference in where we sort of stand out is that because our locations are very strategically placed
Okay.
geographically to
Mhm.
be in very densely populated areas, and we keep our delivery radius pretty tight. So
Mhm.
6 minutes in urban environments, 10 minutes in suburbs. You're getting that food hot,
Yeah,
fresh,
yeah,
and it doesn't feel like it's been sitting in a bag, because it really hasn't. And one of the things that I think we stand out from other delivery platforms is that we're actually able to time that cooking process.
yeah,
So whereas at other places, a restaurant might finish an order and it's sitting in that window in that bag, and it's
yeah,
sweating in that bag for quite a
yeah,
long time. What we're doing is we're able to actually time the cooking process based on when the order is placed, based on the order type, and actually ensure that it's sort of coming to fruition at the right point in time, packed at the appropriate time, kept warm, and delivered nice and hot to your front door. It's a
yeah.
very different experience.
And from what you've said, that process is very much enabled by your tech platform that allows, it sounds like, different dishes to be initiated at different times based on how long they're going to take to prepare. So an order like the one you just described a few moments ago, everything comes together for collection and then transportation at the same time.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm really intrigued about the partnership process between Wonder and different chefs and restaurants, and I just wonder if you could just bring to life some of the, I guess the diversity within that portfolio, and why I guess why you decided to adopt and go down that route, because equally you could, create brands and so on, but you've chosen to partner with some of the most, popular and well-known chefs in the US.
Great question. A lot of why we partner with great chefs and restaurants is, one of the fundamental principles of Wonder, and one of our part of our mission statement is to, enable people to have access to great food.
Hmm.
And so sometimes when you're traveling in the US, you might go to a place and say, oh my God, this is fantastic. I wish I could get this dish back in New York City or wherever you may live. And so what our team did was we went across the United States, found some of the best in class restaurants by cuisine type, and set up relationships with those folks. And so we've been able to build an incredible portfolio of leading restaurants in doing so. And I mentioned some of our partnerships, but we also have our own white label cuisines that we built in house. We have a great chef team, a great research and development team. That's the team that I personally have the pleasure of working with on a day-to-day basis. And we're constantly innovating and coming up with new concepts and ideas, so that we're able to deliver the best meal for our customers.
And you mentioned cuisines there, which is obviously a key way for, well, industry, but obviously consumers and diners as well to access food. It's a way in, and I know from our own experience, something that we talk an awful lot about, cuisine and cuisine evolution. Are does the as Wonder does, how do you kind of navigate that? Are the cuisines that you're seeing perhaps evolving faster and that are more naturally suited perhaps to the Wonder environment?
I think that, our cooking environment, we're actually able to adapt majority of cuisines, if not all, to that environment. And like I mentioned, that's what makes us special. We have, very standard equipment across our locations, so you're not going to see, various types of pieces of equipment. We're able to actually cook pretty much any cuisine, right, in those few pieces of electrical equipment. By the way, we don't use any gas in our back of house. It's
Okay.
entirely
Yeah.
electric, which is also special.
Yeah.
Um, but I think to answer your question around, cuisine types and variety, what we're really doing is trying to provide an offering in the most popular cuisines that we see in the US. I think there's no particular trend in terms of one evolving faster than another. We definitely see lots of sort of cross pollination across cuisines. So you
Yeah.
see, collabs, if you will, between different types of concepts and cuisines. And, we are fully capable of taking advantage of that trend. I think one of our sort of, greatest muscles is our innovation cycle. which is, incredibly fast. We're able to, conceptualize, develop, and launch products very quickly. So whenever we see a trend, we're able to actually capitalize on that and bring something to market quickly, so that our consumers are able to enjoy that.
No, I mean, it sounds incredible. I mean, it was going to be one of my questions around the process of innovating, where you're trying to cover so many bases, cuisines, food types within one establishment. Is there, yeah, I can't begin to imagine how you do that. But is there any insight around that you can share just about how you go about doing
It took incredible effort to build out what our innovation process looked like, and really from start to finish. And what we've done is create, a very sort of disciplined process throughout, so that we're not only able to be creative, right? Because with creativity and innovation sometimes creates complexity, and obviously from a financial standpoint, but also from an operational
it?
standpoint. So what our innovation process really values is and prioritizes ensuring that we have financial discipline throughout that process. We
Mhm.
have culinary discipline throughout that process, operational discipline, so that whenever we're introducing variety, we're introducing new concepts and assortment. We're not introducing complexity into the physical locations. So there's an element of discipline, but with that, we're also able to pair speed, because
Yeah,
we know what our sort of sandbox is. We know
yeah.
where we can play, and we know what our limits are. And so we're able to move quickly within that environment and bring things to the market quickly.
I'm listening to a lot of what you're saying. There's a lot of reference, and it's a clearly an important part of the proposition around speed and responsiveness to not only in the immediate moment to orders, but to what's happening in the external environment and the trends, and the fact that you can do things very quickly. Is there an example of that where perhaps you've seen something begin to emerge, and actually you've been able to jump on it and either launch that as a suite of dishes or a brand or a proposition?
For sure. So we have one of our burger concepts. We started to pick up on a TikTok trend, something that was viral on social media, and that was the burger taco.
Mhm.
And it sounds funny, but we thought it would be a fantastic fit for our burger concept.
Yeah,
So we were able to pretty much get our research and development team mobilized rather quickly. They understood the assignment, they understood the brief, and they were able to execute it very quickly. So I think in a matter of just a couple of weeks, we were able to get it off the ground. And the length of a trend, right, really can vary, and
yeah,
how that evolves in social media. Sometimes it's a little short-lived. Sometimes it's a little bit longer. So as soon as we have an insight that something is trending in the food space, our team is sort of looking at that and evaluating and saying, okay, is this something that we want to bring to market? And some trends, we let them pass because we just have that intuition to know, okay, maybe this isn't something also that we want to continue to have on our platform. But our growth team is always in tune with social listening and understanding what the customer wants. And our job is to ensure that we're making it happen.
I guess the in that scenario, you have the option if you want to retain that particular product, as you've just illustrated the burger taco, retain that within your burger proposition, or if it really gained momentum, then you could spin that out. It could be under a brand of its own right, or it could be a particular, I don't know, social champion or a restaurateur that you could partner with to take it on to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, we can really work with our chef partners to try to create like co-branded experiences. And as you said, right, if there's a strong enough pull on a particular item, I'm sure there's a way to create like a derivative concept off of that. But I think, in that sort of boundless creativity, we have to remember that, we're working with only 2,800 square foot of space. And so every menu item and really every SKU has to earn its keep.
Yeah.
So we would love to be creative and sort of add more and more, but again, with that more comes the trade-off of complexity. And so we're very, very thoughtful about what we're adding in, because every single menu item needs to be adding value to our portfolio and to our customers as well. We want to make sure that when a customer is browsing, they're excited about what they're seeing, and we're not creating, almost too much variety.
You referred to the sort of 500 menu items. Is that something that you've kind of grown up to that level, and you feel that that's the sort of optimum, and therefore it's almost, probably not quite, but almost like one in, one out, and continually evaluating the performance, and dropping things off and reintroducing other things.
Yeah, so we're continuously evaluating our portfolio to see, okay, what do we want to add to this portfolio? Is there anything that we think we can, improve or replace? That's definitely something that we want to keep doing. I think when we launch a brand, we are really thinking about this is an enduring brand and this is something that we think can stand on its own. And they really do. We are restaurant first in the way that we present ourselves in the marketplace, and we want our customers to remember our brands and to adopt them and feel connected to them. So when we're launching them, we're really thinking about that entire life cycle and customer experience.
Yeah.
I think one thing I'll mention that we didn't touch on yet, Charles, is that when we have our locations, right, 2,800 is actually the largest location size that we have with the 30 concepts. We also have a range of different sizes.
Okay.
And I think that's the beauty of the platform, is that we're able to take our portfolio of restaurants, potentially adapt the size of the physical location because no single location is alike. And deploy the brands that we think make the most sense for that particular geo or demographic
Yeah.
in that location. So I'll give you an example. We have, a 750 square foot location, potentially attached to a retail partner, for example, which has around 10 different concepts in there. So we're thoughtful about our 30 portfolio of 30, but then we can also mix and match and deploy what makes sense based on the consumer demographic of a particular area.
Yeah, the concept is, responsive to the environment and the location that it's in, not only the geography and the demographic, but also what is around it from other food and retail concepts and so on that are in the locality as well.
Absolutely.
And you touched a couple of times on what sort of drives the business and your kind of values and your mission. Is that something that could you just give us a bit of insight into that, in terms of what is it that's kind of guiding you? What is it that's sort of motivating everyone within the organization that you're trying to achieve as Wonder?
Yeah, so I mean, really, our mission is to make great food, accessible and affordable while pioneering this category of fast fine dining. And so
Mhm.
we're always aspiring to that North Star.
Yeah.
I think one of the other pieces that I didn't really talk about is also our broader vision, which is, Mark Laurie, our founder's vision, which is to create the super app for mealtime. So when
Mhm.
you think about all of the meal occasions throughout the week, you have roughly 21 meal occasions if you're eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week, maybe plus or minus a few here and there. We want to meet our consumers where they are in those occasions. And that's really where, the Wonder as a platform comes in, from a physical location and next generation food delivery concept. But then we also have, our most recent, we recently acquired Blue Apron,
Mhm.
which is a meal kit and ready to eat meal delivery company. And so in doing so, we're able to actually get into the home, and also serve customers when maybe they want to make their own dinner. They want to be creative. They want to cook something. And so that's really how it comes together, is having these different product lines and these different offerings for different meal occasions, because not everybody wants to eat, out every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want to cook. And so
Yeah.
that's really what we're trying to do. And that's our North Star vision.
I suppose being there and you being available when somebody starts with I'm hungry, and
Exactly.
being that sort of immediate choice. Can you just bring to life for some of the exciting future plans? There are lots of things that I've read in the media. Are you expanding into new markets, new locations and settings? I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we are continuously expanding our physical footprint. We, by the end of this year, we plan to be at 25 locations throughout the Northeast. And then next year, we'll be at approximately 90. So we're moving really quickly and growing fast. I think what we're also doing is we're continuously doubling down on, the culinary engineering. We're continuously investing in research and development on the food side.
Yeah.
So there's, that's one piece. We're also, investing heavily in kitchen design and automation and really thinking about how do we really take our kitchens to the next level. And then I think the last thing that we're focused on sort of in the next, 12 months is really tightening up our unit economics.
Mhm.
We've been able to achieve four-wall profitability, but how do we even, improve that even further?
One of the things I read out and speak on behalf of some of the audience who will be coming looking at it from I guess a retail perspective. I've seen that you've launched in or opened units in Walmart locations. Can you just tell us a little bit about that and how that works?
Yeah, sure. So we have a partnership with Walmart, and we currently have three active locations open in the Northeast. And essentially, right, we were able to adapt our model to fit the needs of Walmart. So I talked a little bit about that sort of smaller location,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we've done is we've been able to take 750 square feet and put 10 concepts in there. And so Walmart shoppers are able to, place an order. They can go shopping. They can, walk around the store and come back and pick up their food items. So it's been an incredible partnership so far, and we're excited to see where it goes and continue to grow that.
And those units are they're not adjacent to the store. They're actually in the store environment, right?
That's right. They're actually physically located inside of the store. So you walk in and you'll see a wonder right at the front of the store.
Yeah, incredible. And any plans to at this stage to export the concept to other parts of the US, perhaps even to other global geographical regions?
Yeah, we definitely want to continue to expand in the Northeast. Obviously, there's, the U.S. is quite large, so
Of
it
course.
will take us some time to get there. But I think, we're starting with the United States as our primary market, and then I'm sure there's intentions and, plans to expand globally. I know, Charles, we're just across the pond, so you'll have to hop on a plane and
Yeah,
come visit
right.
us sometime.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, Amritha, it's been a huge pleasure to speak to you. Thank you on behalf of Team The Food People and 2024 Summit audience for sharing the insight, your expertise and knowledge, and giving us a view into the world of wonder and some of the super exciting things that you're doing and how you're setting out to shift and change the world of food and drink and how consumers interact within it. It's been a fascinating discussion. Thank you so much for joining our summit this year.
Thank you, Charles, for having me. It's been a pleasure.